Dolly Parton continued to appear in People on August 21, 2026, candidly disclosing that her health had declined. However, Dolly's supporters were inspired by her continued discourse about the future, her unwavering passion, and her insistence that she had no intention of stopping. Millions of admirers were shocked when the 80-year-old music icon unexpectedly passed away just 4 days later. It seems that the warning signs had been present from the beginning. However, it's possible that Dolly herself was unaware of how brief her life would be. The public's focus swiftly turned to another issue, barely 1 day following her passing. Who would inherit the vast wealth of Dolly Parton? With no biological offspring and a projected net wealth of up to $450 million, the topic of her successors became even more enigmatic. As information progressively surfaced, it not only aroused concerns, but also a devastating potential following her death. Would it really be possible for Dolly to rest in peace? Or would a disagreement over inheritance and money even involve her grave? On August 25, 2026, Dolly Parton, who had been in the public eye for almost 7 decades, passed suddenly at the age of 80. She passed away quietly in the embrace of her loved ones, ending an artistic odyssey that had spanned more than 60 years, according to information from family representatives. After a brief fight with cancer, she passed away. Dolly's final days happened so fast that fans hardly had time to emotionally prepare themselves, even though her family chose not to reveal specifics about the type of illness or her treatment, out of respect for the privacy she had always treasured throughout her incredible career. She was brought to a Nashville hospital on August 21st. According to reports, Parton had previously struggled with a number of health challenges, such as immune system and kidney problems, after a year in which her health had consistently aroused worries. She was still talking to people until 4 days before she passed away, acknowledging that she had experienced challenges with her health, but maintaining that she was getting better and carrying on with her work. The warning flags had actually been there for months. The public was concerned when Dolly Parton's health began to deteriorate in the latter months of her life. Due to health issues, such as kidney stones and an infection, Parton had to postpone or cancel a number of events in 2025. Due to dizziness and dehydration, she was unable to personally attend an event at Dollywood by August 2026, and her doctor advised against traveling. Nevertheless, Parton persisted in her efforts to reassure her audience, continued her career, and planned new endeavors. These symptoms initially appeared to be transient health problems, but they were actually warning indicators of something much more dangerous. Fans from all across the world prayed for her and voiced their worries. However, few could have predicted that the gifted vocalist would permanently quit the stage just a few weeks later. Dolly also disclosed something in her last known interview that would make the days after her passing particularly eerie. She claimed that while taking care of her husband, Carl Dean, who passed away in March 2025 after nearly 60 years of marriage, she had neglected her own health. Parton acknowledged that she was receiving therapy, but she wanted to continue working since she still had a lot of things she wanted to get done. Nobody realized at the moment that a few days later, those remarks would be among the country music icon's parting messages to the public. However, Dolly appears to have neglected herself as a result of her commitment to taking care of her husband. Dolly acknowledged that she had neglected her own health during her husband's protracted sickness after Carl passed away on March 3, 2025, at the age of 82. Many of her own health issues had been neglected since she had been so preoccupied with taking care of Carl. Dolly was still a music icon with an incredibly busy schedule, so it was an especially startling admission. Beneath that powerful public persona, however, was a wife who devoted a great deal of her time to the person she loved. The idea that Dolly Parton herself may have planned for this moment years beforehand is even more devastating. According to what Parton had previously informed him, her nephew Brian Siver, who had been in charge of her security for over 20 years, was the one who broke the tragic news. On August 25th, Brian shared a heartfelt video on social media in which he identified himself as Dolly's nephew and shared the devastating news on behalf of the Partnoan family. In addition to being a music icon, he described Dolly as a grandmother, sister, and aunt that the whole family cherished. It was also thought to be in line with Dolly's wishes for a family member to make the announcement, since she had previously stated that if she ever passed away, she wanted her family to have the last word with the public, rather than letting the news come out before her loved ones had a chance to speak. In accordance with Dolly Parton's desires, the family will have a modest, private funeral that is only open to her closest friends and family, and will not be covered by the media or the general public. One of the proudest cultural legacies she left behind was the Imagination Library Fund, which she asked individuals who loved her to donate to in lieu of costly funeral flowers. The organization, which embodies her lifelong love of education and humanitarianism, has delivered over 200 million free books to kids worldwide. Rooted in her poor upbringing in Tennessee's highlands, Dolly Parton's longing to sleep on a bed of lovely cotton was one particularly heartwarming aspect of her last desires, a poetic picture that was very relevant to her life. She dedicated her entire career to music and bringing beauty into the lives of millions of people, from songs about the impoverished countryside to her glitzy stage presence. And at last, she deserves to be at peace. However, following the tragedy of Dolly Parton's death, a different query soon attracted popular interest. In the end, who will inherit the vast wealth she left behind? Dolly Parton was thought to be worth about $450 million when she passed away, a massive amount amassed throughout a career spanning over 60 years. Driven by innumerable classic songs, Dolly Parton created a multifaceted financial empire in which music royalties were a vital component. In contrast to many celebrities who mostly depend on album sales or concert proceeds. With over 3,000 songs under her belt, her vast music catalog was estimated by Forbes to be worth about $120 million in 2025. Specifically, Whitney Houston's iconic performance of the hit song "I Will Always Love You" in the movie The Bodyguard brought her about $10 million in royalties throughout the 1990s and an additional $20 million subsequently, proving the enduring worth of excellent music. However, Dollywood, the Tennessee entertainment conglomerate that bears her name, was the primary source of Dolly Parton's riches rather than music. In 2021, Forbes assessed her and Herschel Family Entertainment's 50% ownership stake in the Dollywood company at about $165 million. Dollywood's Splash Country Water Park, Dreammore Resort and Spa, and the Dolly Parton Stampede dinner attraction chain are all part of the Dollywood empire, which goes much beyond the main theme park. Her name became a multi-million-dollar tourism brand thanks to her business strategy, drawing millions of tourists annually and producing a consistent flow of income for many years. In addition to Dollywood, Dolly Parton amassed a sizable real estate empire centered around her Nashville permanent residence. She also owned a number of other properties in California, such as a unique house in Solvang with a special wig room and a comfortable cabin in Idlewild. It served as more than just a location to keep her well-known wigs. It was a haven for the boundless imagination that went into her distinctive look. Over time, the value of her real estate holdings climbed substantially, making a substantial contribution to her total wealth. However, Dolly Parton was especially intriguing since she never saw these possessions as a goal unto themselves. Rather, she constantly viewed them as instruments for achieving something more, particularly through charity endeavors. One of the most notable features of Dolly Parton's wealth management strategy was her capacity to produce royalties from branded goods and passive revenue, which she humorously referred to as mailbox money. She used numerous goods to market her image. Dolly's merchandise includes home decor, cookbooks, wine, cosmetics, and much more. Without Dolly Parton having to appear or act, every product bearing her name produced a consistent flow of revenue. She turned her name into a worldwide brand by using this tactic. becoming a cultural figure with significant commercial power, going far beyond the confines of a country singer. Dolly Parton was well known for her modest lifestyle and unwavering dedication to philanthropy despite her considerable wealth. Her charity endeavors included a wide range of topics, including community support, health care, education, and disaster relief. She formed the Dollywood Foundation, which was used to carry out a large portion of this important job. And it all began with a straightforward philosophy she once expressed. I can't get enough of the thrill of giving. It's a great feeling to know that I'm helping someone else. When she received the Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy in 2022, her unceasing efforts were acknowledged globally. One of the greatest honors given to philanthropists. The Imagination Library, which was established in 1995, is arguably Dolly Parton's biggest and most treasured legacy among her many humanitarian endeavors. She